Another thing that I'm seeing a lot of here is locust, and locust can be a valuable resource. Locust is really easy to identify because it starts growing these ridiculously sharp, ridiculously hard thorns on it. And this is from a younger one. The thorns kind of have a reddish green appearance to them. A little more pliable, but they're still pretty angry thorns. Then over time, they kind of solidify, become more woody, and get a little bit harder. What's cool about these is, aside from the spikes, a lot of times they start forming this kind of natural hook shape. So they're really good for creating natural fish hooks or gorges out of natural material. It's a really cool resource to have. Locust, though, is one of the hardest woods you're going to find. It will chew through your tools rather quickly. It's a very hard, very dense wood. It has a natural insecticide and a natural pesticide, and it was naturally rot resistant. So a lot of times back in the day, it was used for fence posts. And that was before the days of pressure treated lumber. That's how you kept a fence post from rotting out and having to replace it over and over. Cedar kind of has that property a little bit, but locust is definitely one of the most prominent. A lot of times, if you find a piece of deadfall out in the forest and there's a lot of locusts around, it'll be the last thing to decompose. It's just naturally rot resistant. Good for fish hooks, good for gorges. But yeah, definitely a very hard wood to use, but it is really cool. And there's an interesting story about the locust that I can't confirm. I can't find the source information, but it said that this was basically the thorny version of the locust was basically selected for in nature because the thorns are there to protect the flowers, which become the fruit and the seed. And it's kind of rumored that the flowers of the locust was one of the most favorite treats or diets of the mastodon. So mastodons wipe that out and it can no longer reproduce. So the ones with thorns, that protected that fruit obviously lasted longer and were able to reproduce themselves. So that's why it kind of naturally selected to the locust that we see today with the thorns on it. But it's all a defense mechanism for the flowers and the seeds. It's a really cool tree, really cool history, and very useful for certain things, but not for anything that I need right now.